There's a concentrated effort to stop it. They'll do anything to stop us, especially now. Because where is our opposition?
He's been fighting for us for so long. So many schools of thoughts we've been through, yeah, to keep us strong. So tell me, what is it that you're willing to do to make our dreams come true? Yeah, make our dreams come true. Been a long time coming, but now we're here. So won't you stand up and show no fear? For the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. 'Cause he's the man of the hour. They kidnapped him for building Tamare. He put his life on the line for us all. And for the truth, the lies must fade away. Fade away. It's been a long time coming. Yes, let's be strong. For the 7 seals are breaking. It won't be long to make our dreams come true. For a life that's new. Some are called and few are chosen. Said, how about you? For the master, master teacher. Freedom 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 for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Think not that we are earthborn, we come from earth, we may be, but we are life-born spirit, and without knowing we can never be free. Knowledge of this was lost when we were cast into blindness. The master teacher came and broke the chains of bondage. For the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, bring it master teacher. Bring it freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, bring it master teacher. Bring it freedom for the master, master teacher. 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 Freedom for the master.
They did everything in their power to take this land and make sure that what's happening right now does not go on. They tried every trick in the book. They ain't finished. They tried slander, defamation of character. They tried to lock brothers up, harass sisters on the street, stop every car coming down to make sure they did everything they could. And not one person come out and help us. Why? Because they had us marked as a cult. Oh, there's some crazy suicide cult. There's a concentrated effort to stop it. They'll do anything to stop us, especially now. Because where is our opposition?
He's been fighting for us for so long. So many schools of thoughts we've been through, yeah, to keep us strong. So tell me, what is it that you're willing to do to make our dreams come true? Yeah, make our dreams come true. Been a long time coming, but now we're here. So won't you stand up and show no fear? For the master, teacher, freedom for the master, master teacher. Cause he's a man of the hour. They kidnapped him for building Tamare. He put his life on the line for us all. And for the truth the lies must fade away. Fade away. It's been a long time coming. Yes, let's be strong. For the 7 seals are breaking. It won't be long to make our dreams come true. For a life that's new. Some are called and few are chosen. And how about for you? The master, master teacher. Freedom for 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 the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Think not that we are earthborn, we come from earth, we may be, but we are life on spirit, and without knowing we can never be free. Knowledge of this was lost when we were cast into blindness. The master teacher came and broke the chains of bondage. For the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, freedom, master teacher. Freedom for the master, bring a master teacher, bring a freedom for the master, master teacher. Freedom for the master, bring a master teacher, bring a freedom for the master. Master teacher, 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 freedom for the master.
They did everything in their power to take this land and make sure that what's happening right now does not go on. They tried every trick in the book. They ain't finished. They tried slander, defamation of character. They tried to lock brothers up, harass sisters on the street, stop every car coming down, make sure they did everything they could. And not one person come out and help us. Why? Because they had us marked as a cult. Oh, there's some crazy suicide cult.
Rahubat, Rahubat, Muesar, Rahubat, greetings, greetings family. How you all doing? Once again, good to be here. Our souls matter, OSM Vision. Yeah, we're just waiting for more people to join and then we can kick off. So let everyone know we're live. Share the link. I see you all already on here. Bright Sakiyama, Rahubat. Coco Brown, Rahubat. Darnell Gibson, Rahubat. Who else is on? Tay himself, Rahubat, Musa. Harar, Rahubat. Serious Poems, Rahubat. Rahubat, everyone join in, Rahubat. Luke Skywalker, Rahubat. Ras Maroon, Rahubat. George Beaton in the house, Rahubat. Rita, Rahubat. Leo Wright, Rahubat. Okay, for newcomers, this is OSM Vision, Our Souls Matter, Wu-Sabat, Ask Us Anything. My name's Semen, Sakam Reye, a student, one of the millions of student teachers of the master teacher, Partner Bab Yanun, the only one, Dr. Malachi Z.K. York, His Excellency. Rahubat, Rahubat. Remember, you can call in live and ask any questions that you may have. And there, look at the screen and look at all the detail. Look at the, you know, the links and everything that we're posting. And then for Emmanuel, Rahubat. Okay, yeah, let's get started. Remember, none of this would be possible if it wasn't for Partner Bab Yanun, the master teacher, Dr. Malachi Z.K. York, the number one priority in all our lives, because we need him. We need him home. All right, so always remember that. Keep the main thing the main thing. There wouldn't be me, there wouldn't be any Semen without Partner Bab Yanun. So that's a natural fact. Remember to share the room, let everyone know we're live. Okay, Bright Sakiyama, you say, is semen retention a kind of superpower reserved for only men? And if not, what's the alternative for semen retention for women? That's a great question. It's actually the reverse of that. Meaning that because the female is an internal being, by the fact that you're not taking in any semen, you're actually retaining your divinity. And so this is why it's important. And Partner Bab Yanun puts out books like The Gospel of Yanun on the Sacred Feminine, because the same way the male is not ejaculating and retaining that is the same way that they actually doing the females a favor, because then they're not putting it into you. And with the female, because she retains whatever goes in her for a very long period of time. Even though you have your menstrual cycle that helps to regenerate and clean your blood, there are certain things you take inside of you that, in terms of DNA and so forth, that can stay with you for 7 to 9 years. And so, therefore, by you not taking anything, you're doing the same thing, which is restraining or preserving your divine being, your divine, sacred, feminine being. You know, so it's a good thing that the males are retaining the semen, because then they're not putting it into the females, and then the female can remain cleansed. Because if you have multiple partners or multiple relationships over a period of time, all of that builds inside of you. And this is where Wu-Sabat will come in with many rituals that will help you cleanse. We have many readings on our website, and one of the ones that you should read, if you go to the United Sabians Worldwide.com website, right, and you go to the home page, click on the picture of Partner Bab Yanun, yeah, and then it takes you to the Q&A with Yanun, right? And when you get there, you will see, if you scroll down, you will see a number of readings, and every female, particularly every female, should read the one that's got the heart seat. Males need to read it too, the heart seat. Every woman, mother, even daughter, you should read that, because it helps to answer that question that you're posting. It's called the heart seat. So when you click it, there's a blue link that comes up, and actually it's quite short. Maybe I'll read it, and then if we get a call in, yeah, let's read it. Very, very important. The heart seat. 1. The secret of the inner sun, the solar plexus, heart seat. 2. The woman holds the key to your genetic future from her genetic past of 4 generations. 3. She has the mitochondrial DNA, your bloodline stories. 4. This is why I speak of the present woman and 4 male counterparts. 5. I am also speaking about the past 4 generations of women in her family and the males they exchange body fluids with, such as his semen, sperm, and testosterone. 6. So the present you, as a female, have to protect your family line, your mitochondrial DNA, and that means the only male nuclear DNA in your body is from your father at birth. 7. Once you grow to womanhood, the only male testosterone that should flow through your person should be from your father and his past 4 generations. Yet being a XX female, your feminine should dominate your genes. 8. So you have behind your heart gland the central sun, your heart seat. 9. Plugged into it is the solar plexus, the heat of life and emotions of your being. 10. You have 4 chambers to your heart. 11. This is symbolic of your being, feelings, love, emotion, and family, and how you affect the future. 12. If you have one other male in your life as a mate and you digest, consume, or absorb his body fluids, only that would replace your father's XY. 13. His Y will dominate your father's. 14. It will still be a part of your past, yet this is the making of your future of your feminine bloodline. 15. So your first chamber of your heart seat is shared with the love of your father and the love of this new XY male, your mate, consort, husband. 16. Soul R, plexus, male, soulmate. 17. So the inner sun's light is still burning bright, and it's even seen in your eyes and on your face when you look at that man you love, and your physical body reacts to his presence when around you. 18. You're still a whole female deity with full mitochondrial DNA power. 19. If you break up with this first or second man in your life, the first father, second mate, and your love life returns to the first, you are changed because you took in your second male's XY's Y, his seed. 20. His semen, sperm, and his male testosterone, his male hormones, and that has become part of you and your future DNA wise. 21. And if you meet a third male and become attracted to him and engage in sexual acts with him, and your body takes in his XY male hormones, testosterone, semen, and sperm. 22. Then a new war begins in your body. 23. The male hormones fight your female hormones. 24. This is why when a male or female decides to try and change genders, they have to take pills and shots of the opposite sex to have physical and mental change. 25. Well, this also happens to you when you as a XX female take in many mates, XY, into your body. 26. You change, and depending on how many by age 46, you have internal changes you don't even realize. 27. Your mind, body, and spirit all become more masculine than feminine. 28. By the time you have taken in 4 men, your inner feminine solar light is dimmer and dimmer. 29. You no longer know how to love or truly feel devotional love or true emotional love. 30. You have taken in too many Y chromosomes and hormones and testosterone of males. 31. This is why you have to protect and teach your daughters how they affect your family future by her mitochondrial DNA. 32. In the West, they, the children of the devil, and their daughters taught you to swallow as something good for your skin. 33. They lied to you. 34. Oral sex is from them and does affect your body, just as is said, you are what you eat and drink. 35. One and only one male, your soulmate, that is okay for whatever kinds of sex. 36. Yet, multi-males in your life have affected your mitochondrial DNA and your family's future. What was in each male's history is now in your history. That includes sickness, diseases, and even insanities. 37. The Western world and their lack of morals, free open sex with whomever, has affected our whole Salau race by getting the cursed seed of their women genetic markers, mark of the beast, while their women is ever ready to drink a black male's divine seed. 38. So, this is what I meant by more than 3 males and your divine light dims and go out. 39. You have confused your inner divine female deity. 40. So, you were misled by the seed of the devil. 41. Don't make that same mistake with your daughters. Teach them this message from your ancestors. That was 42. Teach them this message from your ancestors. 43. Protect your divine seed if you wish to travel the stars to return home above. 44. Once you have lost your pure, holy, divine seed by having more than 3 males in your DNA, can you regain your divine, pure, holy seed before you leave this life? The answer is 45. Yes, you can. And that's the end of that reading. Don't shoot the messenger, as they say. It's the words of Parnababi Anun. But as you said, as you see, the most important aspect of that, right at the end, it says, once you have lost your pure, holy, divine seed by having more than 3 males in your DNA, can you regain your divine, pure, holy seed before you leave this life? And Parnababi Anun says in 45, yes, you can. Now, how you do that is where Wu-Sabat comes in, because there are rituals and certain things that you must be taught and how to do them so that you can actually, regain your divinity. So going back to the question, you asked a very, very important question, because you're right. It always seems like when we talk about the male being able to retain their semen, and even then in Wu-Sabat we balance everything out. It's not just about the extremes, because it's a build up of energy, and energy needs to be transformed or released in other ways or methods. So it's not just about retaining it, because that could also have an adverse effect. It's about channeling that energy into using it in other ways, such as channeling it to your mental faculties, and so you can use your mind more, or channeling it into, you know, exercising or doing something else. Energy cannot be destroyed. So you can enhance energy, you can absorb it, transform it, but ultimately it's about learning how to utilize and use it in the best way to help you. So yeah, retaining is one thing, but then you have to use it. All right. So I hope that answered that question for you. Remember to press the like button. Remember to share. Let everyone know we're live. Wu-Sabat is here to answer questions that no one else attempts to. All right. So that was for you, Bright Sakyama, for your question. So it's a good thing for the males to retain, and it's also a good thing for the females. All right. Remember, osmvision.com. That's the place to be, and to learn and know more about what's happening with OSM. Okay. The next question is from Darnell Gibson. Good day, bro. Do you know anything about the black lady that was found on the backside of the moon? That question is vague. I don't know what you're talking about. Who found her? Where's the reference for this? Who are we talking about? I need more information to be able to give you an answer if it relates to anything we teach in Wu-Sabat. And that's another thing as well. Like, we constantly tell people in our Telegram group, remember, if you haven't joined the Telegram group, it's going to be posted in the chat, or it's probably already is. So click it, join the Telegram group, because sometimes we don't get to answering everyone's questions, but you can get those answered even after the live. But yeah, in the Telegram group, we tell people all the time, like, don't just come and ask us questions like, have you heard of this? Have you heard of that? Or this person said this, or this person said that, or this one. We focus on Wu-Sabat. If it relates, then yes, we will address it. The reason we focus on Wu-Sabat is because when the master teacher was taking us through the various schools, right, of, you know, religion, we encountered everyone, and he addressed them with, you know, debate books. Well, the master teacher is the original person to really introduce the whole kind of debating in the conscious kind of like community. But yeah, we dealt with all those schools and walked through them and mastered them and moved on to the point where it's like it was a distraction, because we were supposed to be getting Wu-Sabat, which is what we're getting in its fullness now. And along the way, because we were asking questions about everybody else's distraction, we ended up spending some 30 years going through the various schools, which was also part of the plan, so that we would graduate from those schools, and now we focus on Wu-Sabat. So we don't really debate anymore, we don't argue, we don't go back and forth, because we already walked through those schools. We know all the characters, all the major characters in these other, you know, organizations, religions, communities, etc. So we really focus on Wu-Sabat, because Wu-Sabat is that doctrine that will take you where you need to go and liberate you. All right. So unless you can provide a bit more information on the black lady that was found on the back side of the moon, I can give you information that relates, but, you know, just don't want to just speculate and give you something that's not even relevant to what you're asking. Okay, let's keep going. Serious poems. Does the same thing work for women retention too? Yeah, I've covered that already. it's energy. Yeah, it's energy that the woman is actually able to purify herself, cleanse herself. And even though she does that through the menstrual cycle, if she channels that time where she's focusing on herself and utilize that energy also, because remember, women, this is another thing, women are men and men are women as well, because we have an XY, right? The X is a woman, the chromosome, and the woman has the XX, and it's the defective X that became a Y. So, you know, you can see that a woman has both genitals. And when we say women used to be able to procreate without a man, people are like, no, because you never heard that before. But you do some research, look into parthenogenesis, you know, the bulbal gland, and look at, you know, this is all sciences dealing with a sexual reproduction. When you start to study how cells divide and multiply. And so the woman's clitoris is a phallus, although it's a small one, but you know, there are different sizes and they secrete fluids, and hence why she was able to impregnate herself by secreting the seminal fluids into herself. But like I said, these things were hidden from you in religion because they teach you wrong information and say that the man was taken from the dust of the ground and the woman was taken from his rib, when it's back to front. Everyone comes from a woman. So people will be like, well, how did the woman give birth to the woman? Because just like if you look at how cells divide and multiply, and there are still many reptiles or beings of that nature that are able to reproduce without a male. All right, so yeah, we kind of covered that already. So she can enhance that energy and utilize it as well. Ross Maroon, Rahubat, Hell One Love, Amun, I say Amun, yeah, Rahubat. Remember, yeah, shout from wherever you are. Let us know where you're chiming from. Okay, serious poems again. What is the best way to cleanse the pineal gland? Great question. It's really a lot to do with the energy and the environment that you're in. You know, so if you're in a noise polluted environment, that affects you. The colors you're around affect you. The lights you're around affect you. The sounds that are not conducive or not vibrating on the frequency that you should be, if you're a negroid, will affect you. Literally everything around you will affect you. So it's really about being able to cleanse the environment, have it in a particular mode and mode of vibration, and then calming yourself down in terms of your internal being and the mind. And in fact, there's a scroll by the master teacher called The Science of Healing, if you can actually get hold of that, that goes into more detail about how you do this. But it's being able to be at peace, one with yourself, and being able to tap into the energy fields around you, especially the green healing energy, because that will help you to heal yourself. And then, you know, obviously the way there are exercises that the master gives you in there, which I'm not going to go into right now, but that is one of the best books that goes into, you know, first of all healing yourself and then going into that mode of your inner being. All right, so it's a combination of things. So when we say cleanse, you have to think about cleaning yourself inside out as well, because you have to be light. You are what you eat, and so that's part of it. Cleansing your inner being, your organs, and your mind, your thoughts. All of it works hand in hand. And then having the right frequencies or tones and vibrations around you. Remember, you can call us live and ask your question live. The number, if you're calling from outside the UK, is +44. Yeah, that's the international code for London. Then 753 996 3882. So you can call us now via WhatsApp. It's free to ask your question live. On Learn 3, what made Yanun come back after departing from this planet after feeling black people were hopeless? It's important, if you are asking a question from one of our scrolls, that you kind of quote the reference, because it may be a reading, it may be an update. I don't remember him departing like completely. He departs and attends meetings with the Galactical Federation where they're discussing the fate of the planet and the beings on it, and saying like maybe it's best to start all over again. And he then speaks on our behalf, or those that he feels are receiving and getting the message and are willing to do and learn and be the supreme beings that they're supposed to be. So yeah, he has a being and he has a mission, and the mission is not complete, and that's where he would then vouch for and say, no, do not destroy it. I am able to complete my mission. I'm able to do the job that I was assigned to do. And to be honest, that is such a great question, because we are the problem. And when I say we, because he has told us that divine love and unity is all we need to do to show that we are worthy. And if we only just did that in terms of listen, learn, and follow what he's teaching us, how he's guiding us, as humanity, we will come together and we will be able to be respected, and these beings will then decide on what to do in terms of we can change the course of our destiny if we are able to. All right, let me explain something. So the more of us that are conscious and rising and vibrating on the right frequency, that energy then consumes the 6 ether forces and the energy that is creating the divisions, the chaos, the lies, etc., etc. So if we actually really want that, then that's all we need to do, and we will literally change the polarity of the negativity on the planet to positivity. And so it's really those people who are still stuck, you know, in the monotheistic religions, in the lesser mysteries, in the lies, in the fear, the chaos, and all the things, and all the things that stop us from progressing. So even in the Holy Tablets, it says that if enough of us really wanted it, that they would be able to, if enough entities on the planet, I'm paraphrasing, can't remember the exact quote, but if enough of us wanted it, because it's that collective, what people might refer to as Christ consciousness, it's that thing about we're all affecting the environment because of when you deal with quantum entanglement and you deal with the entropy effect, you see. So the more people think positive, like for example, fear is something that permeates that type of energy where people are afraid and fear. Like, you know, they only, for example, maybe go to church or go to the mosque or go to these religious practices because they're afraid that they're going to get burnt up in a place called hell. And sometimes, even though you can show people the facts and show people the truth, they get to that point where that fear kicks in and they feel like, I can't let it go. It's become a crutch, you know, that they can't let go of. You see, so yeah, it's all about Yanun has got that love, that ashuk to say, I really feel that they're getting it and they will, you know, they will come together and they will start to show love, divine love and ashuk to one another. And we're actually seeing it happening. You know, a lot of people are starting to get it, you know, and leave those kind of fear-based systems behind, and starting to be more loving, more caring, more compassionate, and so on. All right, so yeah, that's what made him come back, because he sees those of us who are actually, yeah, sincere. Okay, we have a caller. Oh, voicemail. Okay, let's go. What's a voicemail?
Rahubat second. Rahubat to everyone. Sending my greetings to everyone. May love and peace be upon you.
Rahubat.
I had a question. The question is regarding when you are meditating. So when you're meditating, are we trying to connect with the ancestors, or are we trying to connect with the source? The reason why I'm asking is because, what if one doesn't have a connection or no? For instance, like when your parents, they were born in a certain country, but you don't know your ancestors. You don't have that connection to know who to contact to your ancestors. But then if you look that in that kind of a situation, usually it will be usually a family that you don't have a good relationship. So how can you, because you cannot go and ask questions because you know you're not going to get the truth. But if you want to connect to the ancestors, how do you do it? And how do you get on to connect to the source so that you can be able to align? Thank you.
Okay, so there are really two questions in that. The first one is, how do you connect to the source, or are you connecting to the source? And the answer to that is, we're all already connected to the source when you say the source. But the thing is, when you say the source, what are you seeing or relating to as the source? Because that's the same word that is mistranslated in the religious world, in the Bible, the Quran, as Allah, for example. That's El-La or El-Allah, the source. But then that's just a title or a name to the source. And we're saying that that source you're talking about ultimately is energy, in terms of becoming one with Pa'ut, the all expanding. Now, the second question is that, so for example, someone can look at the source as being the sun, the source of life on this planet. So when you're saying, how do you connect to the source? We're already all connected to the sun, because without the sun, a lot of life on this planet will cease to exist. And the sun is always there. And even though we might not see it during the shadow hours, which people call night, it's still there. So we're all connected to the sun at different vibrations and at different levels. So yes, depending on what you're calling the source, we're all connected to that anyway. The idea is to be fully connected to it, to the point where you've excelled and you leave the lower vibrations behind, so that you merge back with that one source, Pa'ut. The second question about not knowing, how do you connect with your ancestors if you don't know them? You have to remember that even if you don't know them, they know you. So they're moving closer to you, and they may have been involved in your life throughout your entire life and you don't know. This is where, when people have no knowledge of their ancestors, or Wu-Sabat, or the fact that you can connect to your ancestors, your energy gets, or attention gets distorted and diverted to you thinking it's someone or other beings, and they, depending on where you're being taught spirituality, or like who you're calling on. If it's Christianity, then you may think, oh, call on Jesus, call on God, right? So you will call on that, but your real intentions are that you need help, or you're in a situation and you're calling for help. Your ancestors will step in because they know you. They're trying to draw closer to you to let you know of them. And some people say, what if I'm not close to my mother, because the connection is stronger through the female, or through your mother because she has the mitochondrial DNA, and the females pass that down from daughter to daughter. So you're still gonna be able to connect to that lineage through, say, you can skip your mother and go to your grandmother or great grandmother. So that link is maintained. That's one of the reasons why the females maintain the records and the DNA of your bloodline, so that you can still be connected to someone within that bloodline, even if you didn't know them. So they will be there in the, call it background, guiding you. You hear voices, they're telling you suggestions, do this, do that, and you're doing it. But then when you get help, because you don't know of them or you have no knowledge of them, you're just going to say it was Jesus that did it, or it was Muhammad or Allah or some other name that you're going to use, Yahweh, because that's all you're familiar with. But they're trying to channel your energy to give that energy to them, you see. So when you start to cut it off, it's like you're trying to dial a telephone number to your ancestors, but someone's changed one of the digits. So you dial it, it goes somewhere, but it's not going to the correct place. And so in religion, they try to cut you off, recognizing your ancestors and recognizing that, you know, you have a divine connection to them. So when you wake up and you start to give back the foreign, you know, images, foreign names, foreign tones that are not really resonating or not really there to help you, instead they're there to feed off of you and milk you for your energy to utilize for themselves. So then you start to feel and know that the stronger you connect, the more powerful and more help you will get from your ancestors, because they know you. All right, let's keep going. Okay, so the next question. Did you ever meet Dr. York in person? If so, can you give us a memory of him that stands out to you? Yes, I did. Many times, and every memory is every memory stands out. I think, yeah, sometimes we forget that there are people who never had the opportunity to meet him and be around him. He's normal. Like, one of the things that you should be able to pick up from the recordings is that he has a great sense of humor. You know, he's very, very funny. And the presence, like, I've never been around a being more calmer and more surreal, and like you just feel the energy around him. But there's so many moments, like, he's real. All right, I think if you think of, say, your best friend or someone that you really get on with and really like and like to be around their company, he would be like that. In every situation you can think of, like, he would be caring, he will be, funny. You never know what to expect, like, in terms of, you know, you might think he's going to react like this or like that, but, you know, he's going to be in a way that you probably least expected, you know. And you do feel, if you're really connected, someone that is an empath or in tune, and you will know straight away. There's a deep sense of, if you look into his eyes, like there's a real deep sense of wisdom and love and care, and just like at the same time you can feel that burden, but at the same time you feel that compassion, that love. Yeah, I hope that's giving you something, but yeah, many memories and situations I can think of. Going to the restaurant, having a meal, yeah, many situations. Okay, is that kid 9? Kid 6? Kid 9? I can't really see. He says he can't call. I said that he.
They messed my Telegram.
Okay, cool.
I've got another voice note for you.
All right, let's go for the voice note.
Rahubat, greetings, Molweni. This is Trevor Siposetu Mbutuma, Mbinga Mawawa. I'm from the Eastern Cape province in South Africa. I'm a follower of OSM. I've been following the page for a while, and I've learned quite a lot of things that are more educational. I've got some few questions here, Doctor. I've been seeing some moving objects on the sky, like the stars. The stars, in my own view, it's things that cannot move. They just stand still, you see, in the sky. Now all of a sudden, at night, I would see them like moving. You see, they were moving like, you would see an airplane at the sky when it's moving. It's moving like slower, but those stars that I'm seeing, they are moving fast, Menyer, you see. And it's been happening for a while, but so far, I haven't seen them moving that fast. They just stand still. And also, I would like to know more about can you dive deep on the creation of the pyramids? How did the ancient people get the tools at that time, like to make such a huge objects? What tools were they using? Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, most people, relating to the first question, don't really look up much. In the Western, people have been, I guess, taught to like look down all the time. Hold your head down in misery and gloom and doom, and you know, and also you have a lot of like clouds, and you don't really get the night sky where you see the stars clearly and brightly as you would if you go to, say, Africa. I think the brother said he's calling from South Africa, or if you go to Jamaica, if you go to places where, you know, you can see the stars clearly, you would see so many different extraterrestrial crafts, you know, UAPs as they call them now. So if you look up enough and study the stars, the master teacher wrote many books about extraterrestrial craft. Are there UFOs in your midst? Extraterrestrials and creation. There's so many books, you know, that you start to look and see crafts. Some crafts use the clouds to camouflage themselves, but at night, you know, sometimes it's very difficult to do that, but they do travel, and you can literally look in the stars and see what stars are, because they will be quite stationary and not moving, or they might just flicker, because obviously depending on the distance. And you will be able to see planes, you'll be able to see in terms of the altitude, you'll be able to see which ones are like helicopters, because some planes can't fly, you know, at a higher level than others. And you will be able to clearly see crafts that are moving in a way that planes can't move, helicopters can't move. So what he described, I was actually visualizing it, because it was the same for me when I was in Africa and abroad, and when I was in Jamaica and places like that. I saw that. Even on Tamaray we used to see that. So you're just seeing some sightings. And of course, we know that it's becoming more and more prominent for people to see crafts and see You know, people are filming things on their phones, etc., etc. So, yeah, that's using crafts, from what it sounds like. And there's nothing spooky about it. Some people have, some people haven't, and it's okay. But if you look around the world, different people, different races, we're not living in a day and time where people will say you're crazy, because back in the days when Dr. York was putting out this information, then nobody else was really talking about it. So you seemed like you were crazy, and they made it their job to put out movies like Star Trek, you know, Battlestar Galactica, all these shows that showed aliens, and they made it into a joke, so that if someone said they saw something, they were ridiculed, and it was like, oh, you believe in little green men, do you? Ha ha ha, you know, they made jokes. In fact, there's a recording on YouTube of the master teacher called Little Green Men, when he was explaining and talking about him coming from a planet called Risk and so on, and people thought, yeah, you're crazy. But today, who's crazy? So that's the first question. What was the second question?
How did they get tools?
Oh yeah, the pyramids, that's it. Right, and that relates as well, because our ancient ancestors built the pyramids. But when we say ancient ones, we keep saying you have to look at them as extraterrestrials, because they came from different star systems and they came here. And to come here from a constellation such as Orion or Sirius or the other many, you know, constellations, even mentioned in your biblical scripts, to come here, you need to have a level of intelligence and method of transport that a normal kind of like evolving human without that type of technology would not have. So they used technology that we're only just starting to discover now. They were able to do things like levitation, you know, using things like 3D printers, using, you know, a lot of things that we're just starting to learn about. You know, if you look at the locations of the pyramid, remember that the landmass was once all one, and those pyramids were right in the center of the planet. You see, because the planet, we've measured it when you use mathematics, because that's what you have to look at. Look at the mathematics that were used to place it right in the center of the planet. We know the circumference of the planet being 24,000 miles. We know the diameter, right? So if you cut the diameter in half, you're going to get to where the radius is, right? So they knew this maths to basically measure and place it in the center. Those stones were weighing 100, 200 tons, right? Which is impossible for anybody to carry. Even the best cranes, when you look at how they're constructing buildings today, could never lift those stones. I've been to Egypt, I've climbed the pyramids and the stones, you can see it. No, that's not something that people that, you know, you watch all these shows on like these channels and they're trying to figure out, well, we think this and we think that. The master teacher wrote a book called The Science of the Pyramids back then, explaining and breaking down how the pyramids were built. And he explained that they were the same way as above, so below. So now they're discovering about, you know, how the pyramids are going the other way. It's really a diamond. If you look at a diamond, and the first half of that being inside or on the ground. And we actually did a video already on OSM Vision that you can check out on the pyramids, but there's more to come. But they were actually placed along the ley lines of the planet to harness the energy. The earth has natural resources and natural energy that extraterrestrial was like looking for, sorting out, and they come here, and the pyramids give out something called standard columnar waves, right, which is referred to as tachyon energy, and that forms that double helix, right? So this is energy that extraterrestrials were able to come and use to charge their crafts. You see, the pyramids as you see them today, the ones in Giza anyway, there are pyramids all over the world. There are more pyramids in Sudan. There's some underwater. They were used for many things to balance out the planet, because modern man not really knowing certain sciences, they were just building buildings with no knowledge of how the weight of the planet, it affects, you know what I mean, the entropy affects the whole planet, the vibration. And that's why, like, when you have to take something out, if something comes in, right, it affects the weight. So that's why some of these beings that were coming here, they're weightless, yeah? And they had to stop building with certain types of materials, like bricks and certain heavy materials, where everything went to, you know, to being light. Even cars, right, they became mainly built with fiberglass, and a lot of buildings became glass buildings, right? So that was because the weight of the planet was too much on one side, which affects the vibration of the planet. The pyramids were used for rituals, they were used for schools, they were used for chambers of teaching certain sciences like alchemy. This is why everyone was going into Egypt. You know, they tell you all the greatest characters in the biblical stories go to Egypt. They had the science of alchemy, which became distorted into what you're calling miracles in the biblical scripts. So there's so much to talk about when it comes to the pyramids. But yeah, our ancestors built them with the science of levitation, and they were instructing, you know, the descendants on the planet, who also helped when you start to look at masonry and going into what is masonry. Masonry is dealing with building, right? Stone, someone that works with stone. These stones were cut to precision using laser. So there's so much that we can talk about. But if you could get hold of that book called The Science of the Pyramid by the greatest author of all time, Dr. Malachi Z.K. York, he will go into more detail. But there's some secrets, of course, that are not going to be shared, and this is why there's a mystery around the pyramids. Everybody wants to know, how were they built, who built them, and some people are now claiming it to be, oh, it was the Pleiadians that built them and the Ashtar, because everybody's trying to claim the glory, knowing that Egypt is in Africa, and the stories were written on the walls of everything that took place. Some stories are relayed from mouth to ear through different mystery schools and passed down from generation to generation. You see, so the master's secret is with Partner Babyanun, and some of those secrets will never be revealed, because you have to be worthy, you see, or you have to be in certain orders to receive that which is not going to be just tossed to, like they say, you can't take pearls and give them to swine. All right? Oh wait, we got another one? Okay, let's go for it. Everyone's using voice.
Once again, Doctor, I've also seen lots of explanations on TikTok, Facebook. Yeah, some things can be kind of like misleading. So I would like a confirmation, because I believe more on OSM. They never mislead. They tell it as it is. It's factual facts. I've been seeing these videos, these video clips of the flat Earth, round Earth. Yeah, it's kind of like a debate. So I would like to know how the Earth is. Is it round? Is it flat? Yeah, all that, and also the AIDS. There's a lot that's going on. So I just need an explanation there, sir. Thank you.
Okay, right. It's actually neither. the Earth is like an oblong shaped. You know, like a peanut. It's more like a peanut shape, and that's because when we say what we call the Earth, right? It's all about the words. This is why we have to always remember that we're speaking English, and words have a definition, even though they say it's dictionary. Dictionary deals with diction, which is really not not defining what the word is, but the part of the planet that people call Earth, right? People will look at the Earth and say you have waters or the seas or the oceans, and say that the parts that rise above the water are called Earth. But in reality, they're connected underneath the water, right? The water, what we refer to as the deep, is so deep that there are parts of it that no human can actually go, because again, you need certain technology and certain crafts to be able to do that. And in these parts, there are underwater cities and civilizations that have been there for millions of years. How do we know this? Because we know about the Anunnaki, and Enki was terraforming the planet. Enki was a water being, right? There were other beings that were already here, right? Before beings came onto land. So I'm saying that to say, when you use English and you say flat, something that is flat does not go up and down and, you know, like the mountains, and then go deep under the water and then come up. So the part you're calling Earth is not flat. So they really need to change that name, right? Because if the Earth was flat, you wouldn't have mountains and different trajectories of what you're calling Earth. What they're saying is that it's a dome, right? There's a dome, which again, if you look at it, if you have a flat surface and you have a dome, are you saying that there's nothing under the what you're calling Earth? But we know there is, because we walk on the Earth, right? The parts we can walk on, but then when you go on the, say, to the ocean, you can't walk on the sea. But if you drop down and keep going down, you may come and hit some Earth, as I've just explained. So when you ask flat Earth people, what is on the other side of the dome, or you just saying it's half a dome, what they're really talking about is the fact that there is a curvature, right? And this curvature, which especially when you look at, say, a rainbow, because the rainbow will curve, and that is because there is an actual craft, right, called a crystal city, which is placed in a certain position on the Earth where light is reflecting, right? And when you're talking about what they call the firmament, you're talking about the different layers of what they call the sky, right? Because when you say up there, like we say God or Allah is up there, and we would ask the questions as Sabians, we're up there, because if you ever flew in an aeroplane, you will see there's different levels of sky, because you'll be flying and you look down and you will see sky. You look up, you see sky, right? So there are different levels, and you have these layers, like the color of the rainbow, and the last one being ultraviolet, or what people say purple. But that is because when you put light through a prism, as I've just explained, the craft called a crystal, it will break down lights, and if you look at a prism, you put light through it, it separates it into the different colors, because you're dealing with the different vibrations. So the planet itself has been destroyed, or parts of it have been destroyed by accidents throughout the millions of years, i.e. meteorites hitting it. There was one, 17 million years ago, 24 billion years ago, different time periods where the planet has been hit. One of those catastrophes or accidents was the accident with Nibiru and the planet known as Meldek, which ultimately then hit what we call Tamat at the time, which now is called Earth. And they had to, the beings that were responsible for the accident, this is the Anunnaki, right? They terraformed it. Enki especially was given the job, because it was a water planet. Enki was given that job because he was half reptilian anyway. Remember that his mother, being Id, is a draconian, right? And his father being Anu. So he came and he was terraforming the earth. This is where in Genesis it picks up where you're hearing that it tells you the Spirit of God was hovering upon the face, right? The face. The face is like the waters of the deep. The deep is water. There's actually a movie called The Deep. If you have any doubts that when you're saying the deep, you're talking about water. So I'm saying that to say that they terraformed it. They imported different things to this planet, like different trees, different insects, different things to fix the planet from it being completely destroyed. This is why the ecology of the planet affects different people in different ways, where people may have different types of allergies because these like trees and insects and certain things are not from here. Earth itself is a biosphere, right? It has many atmosphere within it. This is why a lot of beings can inhabit the earth, because you have beings in the waters, you have beings in the skies, you have beings that are above it, you have beings, and there's so much different water and resources on the planet that different extraterrestrials can coexist and they like. So the flat earth people is like a distraction, because once upon a time people were being unalive for saying that the earth wasn't flat. When people were saying the earth was round, they would say that you're crazy. And now you have all types of technology, but you'll always have people who will tell you something different. All types of technology, satellites, etc., that, you know, people can use to say, well, how do we get all of these? You've got the Hubble telescope that's been launched. You got, prior to that, you had the, you got the James Webb telescope that has been launched recently, that can look further into space and provide data and information about our universe. Yeah. Before that, you had the, as I said, the Hubble telescope. So people that are real scientists, people that are intelligent, people that really study these things will tell you the Earth is not flat in the way that the flat earthers try to, you know what I mean, push. And then you will also realize how nature works. When something is consistent in nature, things are curves, you know, things are round, they spiral outwards. If you look at the shapes of things, there's no way, if the norm was it to be straight lines and flat, then everything in nature would be that way. But the things in nature, you look at a tree has curves, it's a cycle. You look at the Fibonacci, that the way things grow, so everything is aerodynamically more circles than there will be flat and squares. Like, last thing, I know someone else is on the line, you know, it's like, do you not prefer curves? Like, if you're a man and you wanted a female, would you want a flat woman in whatever direction? No, you want the curves, right? And that's natural nature. You look at the breast, you look at everything in terms of feeding the baby. Anyway, let me take this call, and if you want any more clarification on that, we'll come back to that.
They've just hung up.
Okay.
I just told them to call back.
No worries.
I got a voice note.
Okay, let's go for it. Another voice note.
Yeah.
Listen, we might have to put a man on
Doctor,
that.
here's the last question
Yeah.
from Trevor Mbutuma from South Africa, Eastern Cape Province. I would like to know, sir, on the book of Revelation 21:18, they speak of the wall that was made of jasper, and the city was pure of gold, like clear glass. Yes, the revelation is not kind of clear on things, man. So it doesn't reveal, although it's a revelation, it has to reveal things. It makes it, like, to make it seen by other people, you see. So it takes a deep knowledge for someone to know what the book is all about. And also, in my own opinion, I think they were kind of like speaking about the planet Nibiru there. I'm not sure if I'm correct, so I would like...
Someone's calling. I'll answer it.
Okay. Rahubat, greetings, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from, and what's your question, please?
Rob Bad, I'm calling from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I'm over the States.
Rahubat.
All right, let me turn all this stuff down so I can hear. You hear me?
Tua, yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I didn't know I was just calling in live like that. Hey, bro, first of all, I want to thank you for everything, man, that you're doing as far as like keeping Baba Yanun teachings going on. I just recently stumbled upon y'all, so I wanted to say that. All
Thank
right,
you.
my question is, it's a lot of spirituality questions that I have. One of them is like, you see like a kind of reverse going, like, you know, everybody's trying to, you know, attack you spiritually, or maybe as far as like hold you down, if you understand what I'm trying to say.
Tua, yes.
So what can you do, like, to try to, I mean, not what can you do, but how can you keep empowering, how can you keep these negative forces from continually be around you? Because spiritually it's like, I'm trying not to say it sound like some type of religious person, which I'm not. I'm just trying to say that you can feel it, like what's going on around in this world today, as far as like everybody is trying to leech off you, your energy and all like that.
Yeah, this is where the teachings of Wu-Sabat and the whole teachings of having psychic defense, you know, you are the number one protection for yourself, in terms of, like you say, like you have to go deep, go inside yourself. And I mean, sometimes you may have to change certain people, things around you, the environment you're in, just so that you're not constantly being, as you said, spiritually attacked. The practices, this is why we have things that we do in our culture, like the chants, just being aware and knowing, you know, like who is around you, what are you around. It can go deeper than that in terms of your ancestors, because, you know, we also explain about the disagreeable and agreeable within your being, your matrix, and some of them want you to fail. One of the best examples I can use to explain it, it's like the master said that sometimes you have ancestors within your matrix that, because they weren't able to achieve certain things, or they're trapped, or they're not able to progress, if they see you doing better, they have this jealousy, and they can also be responsible for trying to, you know what I mean, like hold you down or attack you. So the ones on the positive side or the agreeable side, you have to kind of like align with them and work with them. But ultimately, you know, you are the best protection for yourself, because you are a universe that is composed of everything and anything that, you know, you may go out there to get to have as a protection. You know, you see people in religion who'll be like, they've got a talisman, or they carry little Qurans, or you see people that are wearing crosses, and people that want to wear so many crystals around them. When you are the crystals, you are those things, in the sense that you are composed of those things. So really the power is in you, and that starts off from recognizing that if you feed the forces, we have an actual fact called feeding the forces. If you haven't read that, I think you should try and get hold of that, because that goes into exactly what you're saying.
Say that again. Could say that book again, brother, real quick?
Yeah, feeding the forces. Let me look and see if I can give you the actual. Yeah, that is one that you should definitely seek. I'm just trying to see. I'm going to search for it to see if I can find the exact number of it. But yeah, that
I could pick that up this week. Is feeding the forces? Okay, I'll pick that up this week. And one more quick question. I don't
no
know
problem.
how long
Go
you
ahead.
have. You was talking. I caught the end of your class. You was talking about mirrors and stuff, something.
Yeah,
And me and a sister was looking at it. You said turn it to the window, but
right.
you know your live went off, and I don't know if you can elaborate on that. I don't even know. We caught like the end of that,
Sure.
and if you know what if you
Yeah, I
understand
know
what I'm
exactly
trying
what
to
you're
say.
talking about. Yeah. I didn't take the class. It was one of my brothers, Usir. He was the one that took the class, but I was in there, and so I did hear what he was saying. Yeah, so he was basically saying, and we were given these tools by the master teacher many years ago, that if you watch like any of these types of like Dracula movies or horror movies and certain so on, they will give you certain clues that will help you in, because in the spirit world there are rules and regulations and laws that they have to also abide by in the spiritual realm. And so there are certain rules that spirits are not allowed to do certain things, like crossover boundaries with salt, or like see their own reflections and things like that, or that the reflections are like a portal or an opening where they will be able to not get through. So we were advised to put mirrors, facing outwards. That stops them from being able to come in, and so that's what he was referring to, in terms of you should put salt and put put salt like in your like your doorways and places of entrance, in other words, and also put mirrors facing the other way so that they won't be able to come in. There are other things, but that was the essence of what he was saying, because if you look at mirrors, they're like, if you were to put a mirror in front of yourself and you start to stare in the mirror for a very long time, after a while you will feel the sense of who's the real you. Is it the one staring out to you from the mirror, or is it you that are looking to the one in the mirror? And if you then put mirrors around you, you will see that you start to become a fractal, so you break up. So you see, it's like, for example, if you have a mirror in front of you and you have a mirror behind you, and you look at yourself through each one, you see depths. You see the mirror going in, and you going in to a point of no return. And if you did that on either sides, so the front, the back, the left and the right, up and down, you will start to see that you actually break up into two different pieces or fractals, because you're actually a light being, you see. And yeah, so that's what he was talking about. You're actually made up of crystals. You are a light being. You can travel. You can turn yourself. And when I say you, I'm talking about the real you, not this bacteria that we call our body, or like the skin suit. It's the real you. It's an etheric or an energy being, a light being, you see. So that's what he was kind of talking about. Does that help?
Absolutely, bro. Like I said, I thank you. I'm new to your channel. I had stumbled across it, and I just wanted to thank you for keeping Baba Yanun. Like, my first book was Leviathan 666. So
Right, we've got it
has
right
been
here. Yeah, great book.
so, so yeah. I I want to say I go back like I'm old head, but I know a little bit. But like I said, I got to get rekindle a lot of things that I had.
Right.
And I'm glad that you guys are doing what you're doing, though.
Thank you.
So,
And at the end of the day, the more of us that do this, the more we change the energy on the planet, the more attention we bring to him, and so that we can get him home. Because just like any other injustice, the more people that shout and tell the powers that be in their world that we want him home, we want him out, then the quicker and likely
yeah,
that's going to happen. But let me just give you this, give you the number for this actual fact. But yeah, we should all be helping and doing our part to spread the word and spread the knowledge and to help more people. But we appreciate love your comments and your kind words. And yeah, the
You ready
master
whenever
teacher.
you're ready.
All right. Okay. Right. It's actual fact. Number
fact.
2. Actual fact number 2. Feeding the forces is called.
Number 2.
Yes.
Actual fact number 2. All right, I'll pick it up probably tomorrow, no later than Friday. I got a couple of books that I gotta get anyway.
Okay.
So I will be doing that. And I just love, like I said, I just love seeing what you guys are doing. And it's just, you know, like you said, we just got to keep getting the word out there.
Tua.
And that includes myself. So I got to get, like I said, I got sharpened the sword that we used to say back then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the double-edged sword. All right. Yeah. What do? Yeah, let me just clarify that before people think we're talking about getting swords and weapons. The double-edged sword is your tongue. This is what it's explaining. The master teacher, Panda Babianun, taught us that your tongue, because this is where they get the whole thing about speaking in tongues from, right? The double-edged sword is that you cut up the lies with your tongue. And, you know, the two languages, Arabic and Hebrew, that most of the religious, the monotheistic religions that captivate people are based on those two tongues, and they're actually one and the same language but different dialects. This is why it's easy to hear it phonetically when you say, you know, from English you say Jesus, and then Arabic Isa, Hebrew you say Yahshua, you can hear it. You know, you can say, what other names? Michael in English, you say Murdoch, you say Michael, you know, you can actually hear it. So yeah, the double-edged sword that we were talking about, me and my brother just now, is your tongue to cut up the lies. All right, let's go back to the voicemail, and it was talking about Revelation 21.
Doctor, here's the last question from Trevor Mbutuma from South Africa, Eastern Cape Province. I would like to know, sir, on the book of Revelation 21:18, they speak of the wall that was made of jasper, and the city was pure of gold, like clear glass. Yes, the revelation is not kind of clear on things, so it doesn't reveal, although it's a revelation, it does to reveal things. It makes it, like, to make it seen by other people, you see. So it takes a deep knowledge for someone to know what the book is all about. And also, in my own opinion, I think they were kind of like speaking about the planet Nibiru there. I'm not sure if I'm correct, so I would like an explanation there also. Say what city is that they were talking about? Okay. Thank you, sir.
No problem. So again, you have to get the revelations of the Sabians to get the real revelations. However, in terms of those revelations, in terms of the last book of what people refer to as the New Testament, the master teacher already broke down and explained that book completely from beginning to end, published on it. We have some small scrolls on the book of Revelations 21 specifically, as well as the Arabic rendition where he broke it down, because a lot of people don't realize that it was actually already it was originally in the Seretic Arabic, so they translate from Hebrew into Arabic and Arabic into Hebrew to confuse people. But yeah, the book of Revelation 21, I'll just read a bit of it from the King James Version. It says, I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. All right. Now, when you go into and carry on, it actually then explains to you in the next. I'll carry on reading so that you can actually see. But it explains to you that they call it the New Jerusalem. Right. Let me carry on. Revelation 21:2, and John saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, right, listen to this, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband, right? And I carry on, and 21:3, and I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of God, it says the Most High, but is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them and be their God, right? And he says, and God shall wipe away all the tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. And he that sat upon the throne said, behold, I make all things new. And he said unto me, write, for these words are true and faithful. Right? That's when you say true and faithful, you're talking about the Amun. But let's go back to the top. It's talking about, I'm going to break it down for you as we go along, right? So it's not Nibiru that it's being spoken about. It's the crystal city that I mentioned earlier on that's been spoken about. Nibiru itself, the craft, the planetoid craft, Nibiru, is too big to come into the Earth's atmosphere. It can only come so close because as it draws closer, the pull from its force causes tornadoes and earthquakes and all that, tsunamis and all kinds of things that you see happening on the planet. So it has to stay further away and launch this crystal city, right? And the crystal city is the one that they're talking about, because when you say it says, I saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down. It's a craft coming down from where? From God out of where? Heaven. Heaven being above, prepared as a bride, adorned for her husband. So this is the craft that is able to pick up people that are ready. And if you keep going, it talks about tabernacle. We were known as the tabernacle, the holy tabernacle ministries, for those who remember and know. And the God that you're talking about is with men. This is Parnabab Yanun, the being that, if you go and look and read Malachi chapter 4 verse 2, it tells you the Son of Righteousness will come with healing in his wings, right? And that he will be able to make things clear, right? It says, that's Revelation 21:5, and it says, and he that sat on the throne. Let me show you all a picture. I'm gonna have to do this, bro. I'm gonna disrupt a little bit. Grab that one. Perfect. You can put that back now, and I'll put this back. Look at the body of work. He makes things all clear. Look at the picture I'm about to show you. Don't know if you're gonna zoom it. Okay, there you go. You got it? Right, that's the being that is sitting on the throne, known as we were reading, what does, let me show you, I think you caught it anyway, but it literally says, the faithful informer, yeah, faithful informer, yeah, soul of the Pata'ite. That's the meaning of the word Amanubirakata. And then let's carry on reading. A lot of this book of Revelations, preachers don't touch because they couldn't break it down unless they listen to what Parnabab Yanun was saying. Right, so it says, Revelation 21:6, and he said, so go back to 21:5, and he that sat upon the throne said, behold, I make all things new, right? The whole point of the master teacher coming is to be what? The reformer, to renew everything, to bring in the 24,000 years where he's renewing the 24,000 year cycle and bringing in the 9 ether and making everything new and explaining everything. And he said unto me, write, for these words and are true and faithful. I just showed you where it says Amun. That's the term, Amun, the hidden one, or someone that is faithful. Make all things faithful. This is why all religions end with the name Amun, Amen, or Amen in their prayers. Let's keep going. And he said unto me, it is done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. I will give unto him that is athirst of the fountain of water of life freely. Anyone who's thirsty for knowledge, who wants to know, they will be able to receive the information, right? Religious people try to make this about Jesus, but if you go to Revelation 1, let's go to Revelation 1 quickly. We'll come back to 21, right? Remember, we covered these books like cover to cover years ago. We only go back into them when we are asked questions for those who are still caught in them. Revelation 1:1. The revelation of who? Jesus Christ, which God gave unto him to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. And listen to this. And he sent it and signified it by his angel unto his servant John. The angel, the word angel means, is the same word as Malachi, my angel. Malachi Zodok, Malachi Zodek, Melchizedek, the son of righteousness that's coming with his healing in his wings. All right, so let me keep going because you've asked a good question. All the people in the chat, don't worry, we're coming to you as well. All right. Right, going on to 21:7. He that overcometh shall inherit all things, and I will be his God, and he shall be my son. And he said, remember, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, after me, only God himself will come. When the master teacher came saying he was God, everybody was like, what do you mean, what do you mean? But it says in the Bible, is it not written in your laws that ye are God? Psalms 82:6, yeah? John 10:34, Exodus 7:1 or 7:2. Go and check these quotes out. You are God, and he was that God that came to tell you that you are also God. We are also God, not the type of God that doesn't come down and sends his son to be crucified, but the type of God that comes down because he actually really loves his children to the point where he is willing to come down and do battle for himself and protect us. So when you're really thirsty, when you're really seeking truth, when you're really about truth, your thirst will be quenched. And but listen to this, 21:8. But the fearful and the what? Unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and warmongers and sorcerers and adulterers and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. The second death. You need the double resurrection. You need that, the new way, the new song. We need to learn that. And then he says, Revelation 21:9, and there came unto me one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials full of the 7 last plagues, and talked with me, saying, come hither, I will show you the bride, the Lamb's wife. Right? You go to the holy tablets, look at the back. You got the 7 thunders in there, where the master has explained it, detail. And then the New Jerusalem is what you're really talking about when you're starting to look about the crystal city. When you're saying about the crystals, it actually literally describes the craft. It measures it, it gives it the different crystals. And he carried me away in the spirit to a great and high mountain, and showed me the great city, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from God. 21:11, having the glory of God, and the high light was like unto a stone most precious, even like as jasper, as you said, stone, clear. We've shown you the picture of the crystal city, all right? The crystal city with all the different stones. This is what it's talking about, jasper. And I think we did the video on this as well. 21:12, and had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates, and all the gates 12 angels, and names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. So again, it's just relating to these different gates and stones. And the 12 is symbolic. It's symbolic because you have 12 agreeable and 12 disagreeable elders that come together, known as the 24 elders, right? I would love to go through the whole of this, but you know, given time, and it actually describes. So it says 21:13, on the east 3 gates, on the north 3 gates, on the south 3 gates, and on the west 3 gates. Revelation 21:14, and the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and in them the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb, right? That's why we follow the Lamb wherever he goes, right? Let's keep going. And he that talked with me had a golden reed to measure, this is what I'm saying, to measure the city and the gates thereof and the wall thereof. Revelation 21:16, and the city lieth 4 square, and the length is as large as the breadth, and he measured the city with the reed, 12,000 furlongs, right? So these are a form of measurement, right? The length and the breadth and the height of it are equal. 21:17, and he measured the wall thereof 144 cubits, according to the measure of a man, that is, of the angel. Yeah, I mean, I could go on and on and on and on, but it goes on to talk about the destruction of Babylon, and yeah, but I know you only wanted the first part, 21, about the crystal, but it's the crystal city that launches out of Nibiru, the mothership. It was referred to as the mother plane by, you know, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, but the master's taking that information further, giving you drawings, giving you everything, and breaking it down. Now you have to remember, when we're talking about Nibiru and crystal cities, these are fleets, you know, just like you might have an airline, you know, like British Airlines or Virgin Airlines or whatever. They will have different crafts that will have Virgin or, you know, American Airways on them, right? And they're different, like jumbo jets and all kinds of different crafts. So many crafts are called Nibiru, and many crafts are called crystal cities, and there are different types of crystal cities as well. Like, you know, you get the shams as well that come out of the crystal cities. So yeah, that is talking about the crystal city. All right, we got any callers, or shall I? All right, let's go back to the chat. Yeah, people in the chat, thank you for your patience. We do give priority to people that call in. People are cheating and leaving voice messages, but I guess if you're in Africa and you don't have credit, or your line is bad, you know, it's probably best to leave a message, and that way you don't get cut off as you're trying to speak. All right, so okay, let's get back to the chat, go back to the comment section, and let's see what we got. I think there's been a conversation.
A lot of people are arguing.
Yeah, we don't argue. Arguments are a waste of time and energy, to be honest. Like, either you want to learn or you don't. You don't have to accept what we teach as, you know, we know, and we have been around for, we didn't just pop up last week. You know what I mean? We're the longest consistent, like in every aspect you can look at, in terms of publications, in terms of free classes, in terms of we're worldwide, in terms of having built many communities, in terms of having our own language, having our own culture, our own dress. You know, like, really, come on, we don't really have, like, this is for people that really want to learn, who can resonate with Wu-Sabat. So we actually have a part of that called the argument. One of the memorable part is, why argue with someone who doesn't know? Does it make sense? It doesn't make sense. So either they want to know or they don't. Either way, if they don't, they can keep it moving. They can go wherever they want to go and do whatever they want to do. But don't try to come and box with God. Your hands are going to be too short. All right, let's get to some real questions. Right, let's see. Okay, here's a question. I am from Nigeria, and many of the things he is saying are true. We even have some of the ancient Egyptians' language in our language all around Sahara. Exactly. Language started from one place, it was brought down to the planet, to our ancestors, and then it spread. The women spoke first, 54,000 years ago, and then the men spoke afterwards. I'm trying to see some questions. Yeah, people are just having a conversation. I don't know what they're arguing about. I see Ashuk is Arabic word. No, it's not. There are similarities, but again, you have to remember that most of these languages or dialects are borrowed from the original, the source. So you're going to have certain words that are similar or that have been borrowed. I'm trying to see some questions. Starlight. Starlight, to double, okay.
Can you explain deja vu?
Yeah, sure can. Who's that?
April Ross at the bottom.
Okay, I think I should start from the... Right, deja vu. It's a French term, but it really relates to anyone who's ever had the experience. I'm sure most of us have, where you will be passing something or doing something and you catch yourself and you're like, this has happened before, I know it. This experience I'm going through, even if it's for a split second or a moment, it's because it's time travel, right? You can go into the future and you can go to the past, and you have something known as your counterpart. You have a counterpart that is literally the reverse to you and does everything you do but in reverse. And you share this, you're the same being. It's just that when you're asleep, they're awake. When you're awake, they're asleep. And you share dreams, you share memories, you share many experiences. And sometimes you would have visited somewhere in terms of perhaps traveling to that realm. People talk about astral projecting and traveling, or in what they call dreams, not realizing that this is the time where your spiritual body is more active because your physical body is laying down and it's resting, and your spiritual or your astral body can then be free of it. So when you visit somewhere or do something, come back, then you catch up with yourself later on and you're like, I've been here before. Like if you catch up with yourself, let's say for example, to make it simple, you go to sleep tonight, you astral project and you travel into the future, which hasn't arrived yet for your physical body that is asleep. You have an experience and you come back, and then you wake up because your spirit and your physical body are now back in union as one. And when you actually travel, you're not completely detached from your body because you have something called an etheric cord. The etheric cord is like when you were born into the physical world, you had the umbilical cord, which your mother was using to connect with you and to feed you your nutrients, etc., etc. So when you're astral projecting, you have this etheric cord, which is an invisible energy or energetic cord that stretches wherever you go. And so this is why when you get frightened or whatever, you can wake up and pull yourself back. All right. So anyway, you travel, you see this event or incident, experience it, then you come back, you wake up, and then let's say a week later or another time in your life, you actually then go to that place that you've already been to, and you're like, this is deja vu. I've been here before. I remember this. This exact same moment happened the same way that I'm now remembering it. That's one way. Another way is that your counterpart, when you're dreaming, for example, they will continue the dream where you left off, and vice versa. And then they fill in the gaps that you didn't experience in your dream, but then the next time they're passing or sharing that information to you. You see, so yeah, deja vu is basically time traveling and catching up with yourself later on. All right. K. Edwards. I approach all situations in realms and dimensionally in sequence. Something zapped and woke me up. Help. No, really though, help. I just said something like, when people say something, that's what I'm saying, that's you, yourself. A lot of the times you, yourself, your counterpart that is the being that is guiding and helping you. You also have your ancestors and other beings that are part of your bloodline that also guide and help you, and others that try to lead you astray so that they can experience through your vessel the things that they are still attached to in the physical world, that they haven't burnt out in terms of desires and certain things that they can only experience through you. You see, so there are some that will constantly try to influence you to do things that you struggle with. This is why people struggle with addictions and certain things that, you know, their ancestors that are not completely free of those attachments are trying to utilize your physical body to do. Who's this? D-Tech, your Rahul Bhat family keeps scholarship in North London. Told, yeah, you're mixing up the Miss Batia with the Hebrew. But yeah, Rahul Bhat. And you're mixing that Shukran with the Arabic as well. Yeah, it's good to see you on board though. Listen, that's a point. Wu-Sabat, for all the people that are saying like, man, I was listening to this 20 years ago. I was reading Dr. York books like 20, 30, 40 years ago. You're welcome home. You're welcome back. Just come back and get up to date. Catch up with the latest hereafter doctrine. Because most of you don't realize that when he was saying to you, I came giving you what you want, so you would learn to want what I have to give. I'm going to pause. Stick a pin right there, right? We've got another caller, Rahul Bhat. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from? And what's your question, please?
Yeah, it's Kurt against the mouth.
Hey, Rahul Bhat. Go ahead. How you doing?
Yeah, so I'm good, my friend, I'm good. So my question is today.
Yeah.
We know how the master teacher ties into the biblical prophecies and what's to come. But
Yeah.
when we actually go into like the hadith prophecies, what the master teacher will fulfill in that as well. Because obviously you have Imam Isa, our master teacher's born Imam Isa al-Hadi al-Mahdi, and then you have the Mahdi, which helps our master teacher.
Okay. So what do you want to actually know?
So just going into more detail, because we get the biblical prophecies, so we need to go into the dystopian prophecies where the hadiths are concerned and the
Right.
Quran and
Okay.
so
So really, they call them prophecies, but a lot of what people are calling prophecies are just regurgitating writings or information that has already passed. And when you're saying that a hadith, you're really saying tales or Chinese whispers, where people are relaying information, trying to explain what they say came down from a being, Allah, who's supposed to know everything. And he says there's no doubt in the Quran, but when you start reading, there is doubt, because they will say they don't know what the meaning of Alif Lam Mim is. It's like, but you said there's no doubt and everything in here, you know, it's like, then you start going into things and they say to you like, oh, the Quran's never been tampered with. And you say, okay, this is not the original Arabic that it was revealed in. then they like, I know, but we had to add all this tajweed, right, which is like tamabuta and all these vowels, and like you're like, but that's tampered with, because when you add something, you've changed it. And then you go, oh, but you know what? Actually, there is no original Quran. They say yes, the Quran is the original. It's always been, is the best, and nothing has changed. All the Bible's been tampered with, and this. And then you say no, like, where's the original then? Because they tell you when it was being revealed to Muhammad by way of Gabriel, Jabril, as they say, right? He was giving it to him in bits and pieces, and it was being written and compiled, or written in like bits of, animal skin, bones, etc., etc., right? And you say, okay, that would be the original, right? So where is it? They don't have it.
So,
but
so my standpoint on that would be, how would they even know it was the angel Gabriel? Because it was Warika, Muhammad's first wife's uncle, that said he was Gabriel. Muhammad never said he was Gabriel.
I know, that's what I'm saying. And if you notice how names are given to people in these scriptures, it's normally an incident or a situation that happens that you get named based on that situation. But as you keep going,
you would have got named in that situation is through initiation process.
Right, and like you say, like Waraka, as you say, it was a Christian. It was an Orthodox Christian. He never converted. So if this was the last message and greatest message to come and change, why did he not convert? And as you keep going, and it gets to a point where I think I did a one-to-one with, we had a conversation with a few Muslims, and I was like, what does the word ikra means? And he said it means to read. It means read. But then I said, but how can he read if you start off telling us he was an ummi? He wasn't able to read. All right. So then it doesn't make sense to send someone to tell someone to read who can't read.
I think a lot of it has been misinterpreted. So, I mean, from what I know, the Muhammad got initiated in a cave by somebody from a learning school. And when he's coming down to like the word like Umayyad, it would have been Umayyah. So a lot of things have been lost in translation.
Yeah, ultimately
books have been changed over time.
Yeah, a lot has been changed. That's why I said, like, then when I say he couldn't read, they say no, he was reciting. And then I was like, recite means you already have it in your head, because you can't recite something you haven't memorized or have in your head. So as you do all of these little kind of picky, you start to remember that they'll be like, okay, these people memorized this. Many like years later, they then put it together and compiled it, and now you have many versions, just like the Christians and the King James and a million versions. So the equivalent to the hadiths is like, the writings of the Talmud, and then the Gospels of, these so-called disciples that can't remember. Their stories don't add up or match up. One person says this happened, another person says this happened. Most of us can't remember what we did yesterday, yet alone to recall from memory like 60, 70 years ago or hundreds of years ago, something to then put together. So we know that its tales is, it's just a spell, and people have to realize that the worst part of it is that even if you took and said, okay, let's just agree and go with the Quran, why would you need the hadiths when they'll say because the hadiths have to interpret the Bible for you and use the tafsir. That's what they're saying, like the explanations of men to explain Allah's words. But that makes Allah look like he is not capable of writing something clearly for everyone on the planet to understand and be clear about it, that they need men, mortal men, to interpret and make Allah's words clear, which is again, back to front. 100%. So you're right. We don't do with that. We do with actual facts.
A lot of people don't realize that Misbatia and Sabay came way before Kara and Arabic.
Exactly.
So we need to clear it up as well.
Yeah, because you can go to Egypt today and still see the writings on the wall. You can go to China and see writings on the wall. You can go to Sumer or the Sumerian and see the Sumerian writings are in tablets that they have found. today they're finding more and more things. Even in the place that, what's going on now with the wars, they're finding things, and like the Iraq war where they were finding tablets and destroying a lot of evidence, so the world doesn't get to really know what it's been uncovered, because the truths are written in these ancient tablets and stuff. So that's why Wu-Sabat, we just deal with the actual facts, and we predate religion, and we have our own stuff. So but yeah, for people who need clarification on it, that's why the master is here. He's here to set the record straight on everything for anyone who'd like to know. Yeah. Shook, Zamal.
Shook, Zamal, and I'll be down soon again, my friend.
No problem. Take it easy. Wadu. All right, let's see what other questions we've got. People are still having all these identity arguments in the chat. We are Nuwapians. Forget Igbo, Yoruba, Jamaican. Those are just titles, We want to be one people, one love. Different species, but definitely stop the divisions. Religion does enough division. We don't want that. Got another one?
They hung up again.
Okay.
Up the back.
I'm looking for questions in the chat. Okay. Rahubat, caller, what's your name, where you calling from, and what's your question, please?
Hey, Saken, how are you?
Rahubat, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. This is Seven. I'm just joining the live late because
That's
I
all
was
right.
working. And I just wanted to call and say hi and tell you thanks for everything that you're putting out for us again really quick. That's all.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your call and your kind words. And it's all down to Partner Babian and Dr. York. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And I will call. I'll call next Tuesday so we can talk. Okay.
Sure. Absolutely.
All right. Thank you. Have a great day.
I do. Yes. On that note, I just want to take the time out to when we hear that people give us recognition or show their appreciation. We're very humbled, because we're just doing our best to share and spread the information Partner Babianun is teaching us. And as usual, we want to thank you for your help, for subscribing. Help us share, like, and get others to subscribe, because this is the channel that is giving you the truth, giving you the master's words, every week consistently. And we're not going to stop until our last breath. Thank you for your donations. Thank you for helping us. We're trying to get the studio together so we can even have more programs and shows and bring other brothers and sisters and do so much more for you. So if you haven't subscribed already, you can help us by doing that. All the people that are contacting me about the 100 project, again, thank you, because we can't do this on our own. We need to all pull together, and we're really grateful in terms of your help and your support, and we just want to take that time out to show you guys some love. Ashuk, the divine love that we all should resonate under. Okay, I've got a question here. Life is a blessing. So Ken, I've heard you mention something about it's not ethnic, it's etheric, yeah? Ether, as in 9 ether, etheric parents. Can you please elaborate on this a bit? Is it that our parents here are not our real parents? I don't quite understand. Okay. So, you know what? You ever heard the term hidden in plain sight and eyes wide shut? Yeah. The word gives it away. Parent. Your parents are those that you rent for a specific period of time and then you move on, right? And we refer to this renting as we become adults and we go on and move on to our own lives. So yes, you do rent the parents in the physical world that you come through, And you have to remember that you're composed of different beings, for lack of a better word. So it's like your physical composition has to be made from the environment that you're in, because you're now vibrating and dealing with that environment. Okay, so what can I do?
Hello, can you hear me?
Okay, we got a live call. I'm going to come back to that question. Yes, greetings, Rahul back. How you doing? What's your name? Where are you calling from, and what's your question, please?
This is Kenneth. I'm Ken Whiteman 12 in the chat. I'm calling from Buffalo, New York. I really wanted, I guess when a lot of people, learn a lot of things, different paths in life, mine is more of not what or why, but where, like where to go from what I know.
Right.
Which is one of the reasons why I became a member. So I wanted to ask him more about how do I get involved on the platform with so many already subscribed as a member? Do you have any advice for which way to go? Like which content I should watch first to unlock it in order, in sequence? Because right now it's all over, but I know that is true because you just I got too many experiences. I know it's true. I've been taking out my butt. I don't know if it's even safe to say that. It's weird for me because I don't talk to people.
No, it's all good. It's all good. You're amongst people who share similar experiences, so you ain't got to feel weird or crazy or any of that, because it's real, and it's real to us as well. So yeah, that's the first
Yes, I even seen one of the beings. I seen one, like he ran and teleported and jumped, and multiple people seen it with me, but it was all in the path of following my downloads. Literally, I feel like the divine talked and told me start like how we get from -1 time. Like in school, I don't think people understand why -1 times -1 is important. It equals 1.
Right. Yeah, so the first thing is, most people don't realize that after they get past the religious dogma and the stories of these books that they're trying to convey a message to you about your spirituality and what you really are, most people have no real idea how powerful they are and what they're capable of. And that's because they've been dumbed down and have been given like almost like fairy tales and stories, which when you really start to delve deep into your being, your real you, then this is the journey. This is where it begins. This is why everyone says look into yourself, you are God, etc., etc. But as a being that is learning about yourself, you are being taught by a master, a spiritual master, a being that knows about these things that we're talking about in terms of experiencing what people are calling the spiritual world or other realms, as well as a being that is able to give you information based on the physical world. And so the humbleness and the just being I'm just honored to be able to read the scrolls or have a being such as Pa Nababianun amongst us to really help and teach us so we can really tap into our real potential and get back our higher powers. So what you're asking is you've got to come closer to the family, and wherever
I got more stories. I just don't know how and when to tell them, but I know in private I would, but it's some that I would publicly discuss and some I wouldn't, but I know for a fact that this is what drew me. I don't, it's not an influence, it's not, like you talked about the golden light children and the fire ones.
Yes.
I'm a golden light.
Right. Well, this is, I mean, if you read that scroll properly.
You said don't claim it or nothing. I tried to ignore it.
Yeah.
I just, you know how you know when you know, and if you don't know, then you don't know.
That's right. That's right. That's a very interesting point, actually, that you have those who know, you have those who don't know, and you have those who don't know that they don't know. So it's you have to decide and learn, and that's why we sit at the feet of, not in a, again, people hear that and be like, do you know what I mean? Not in that way, but in a humble way, like as a student, like if you want to learn, you got to be
I come as a baby.
Come as a baby.
Your voice is very nurturing, just like a father.
Right, exactly. Willing to soak it all up and Then you have those who battle with their egos and they think they know and they don't know. And it's like, but yeah, in terms of yourself, I would say I'm not sure what the closest community to you is. But even then, you can just be, as you say, join our Telegram group. You've already filled out the join us on the website. We are going through a process soon where we're going to be like everyone who's, as you say, that wants to come close, we'll reach out. And we have a process for people to be onboarded, if you want to use that term to make it easy. So yeah, just stay close, stay in the Telegram group and ask the questions and follow the instructions. And yeah, just be amongst family so that you can get ready to be receiving Parnabab Yanun in the presence, be in his presence.
Oh, and when there's 2 or more gathered, I know how much brighter it'll get. That'll be crazy. And you know what's crazy? These are some important factors that I want to leave at closure. Thank you for all your time.
No problem.
One, I belong to no denomination, religion, or group, and I'm not an atheist, but I know all the divine connection. If you know, you know all. Right. That's one. 2, I'm a coder and a developer. I know all
man, you're speaking my language. We definitely need to hook up. I'm a coder and a developer too. And there's so much we got to do.
So you know divinely how that aligns from zeros and ones to parallel. People don't even know binary is 2. That's what life is written in. They're talking about it in quantum right now. The third language is C, and then they got C, C sharp, and C++.
You're gonna be you're going in. 3. Right. I know.
You start turning into a madman, like a genius when you wake up. It's like, and you just get blasted. The last thing I want to say is people hear the phrase, a wise man knows that he knows nothing at all. And then if you're wise, then you know nothing at its all.
I hear that. But you're right. I mean, that's why they start off the movie The Matrix with the zeros and one. And when you start to look into that, it's not crazy because you can digitize things from analog, right? And now everything is becoming more digital in terms of downloads, and there isn't any tangible things. It's really all code. And so I'm with you. But we definitely need those skills that you have, and it's about bringing our skills together to work together to do what we need to do. But yeah,
and I look forward to learning. I definitely want to learn because like you said, when it's passed down, first of all, if it's divine, and then it's passed down divinely, you know when it's for you, and I don't have that guidance. Yeah. So I love the way you crush quantum material. You're right. Nobody's talking about it in this fashion, and that's when I knew the light went off.
Right. All right. Appreciate your call, Zamal, and we'll stay in tune. We'll be talking in the Telegram group, and then we can link up and take it from there.
I will do. Water for the soul. Contact me. Thank you. Thank you.
Wadu. Yeah, I feel in that, brother. That's good. All right. All right. Next question. Oh yeah, I didn't finish what who was I was talking about someone. I was answering a question before his call. Oh, we got another caller. Rahubat. Caller, what's your name, where you calling from, and what's your question, please?
Are we on?
Tua, you're live.
Next question. Oh yeah, I didn't finish what who was I?
If you could just turn down your background, it's echoing back.
Is this better?
Much better.
How are you? It's Brahim from Brooklyn, but I happen to be in Brazil. I relocated.
Okay. Wawe. Rahubat.
My question was risk. Who's the ruler of risk, and in what material form would that entity be?
Great question. The thing about when you elevate and you start to deal with beings of high intelligence, there isn't any kind of like, I'm the ruler. They work together, right? And they work together as a union in councils. This is where you get terms like we all meet in perfect harmony, because the reason we have divisions and rulers and I'm better than you and you're like, it's because of the divisions and the egos, and so they don't rule like individually, I'm gonna see. Let me see if I can find something to read for you. So the Riskians. I'm just trying to pull up. Bear with me. But yeah, that's a great question. Let me just.
While you're pulling it up, do you know what material form that entity would be? This is
what I'm
the
trying.
The highest power that you know is in what form?
Right. It's because they are in an etheric form, right? So this is short. So let me read this for you quickly. The beings that you're talking about. So when we say Riskians, it's like saying Earthlings, because Risk is a planet, and we on Earth. So everyone on the planet could be referred to as an Earthling. However, on Risk there are different continents, and there are different levels of vibrations that beings that exist on the higher realms, they stay above. But so let me read this for you. It's called the Riskians, right? And it says, Razwan wu-nuwapu, Zanun asunupu, Zakun nabanupu, Pal Murzaku. The Riskians are from the 19th galaxy called Malay, Ilion. They do not live on the surface of the planet. They live on platforms because there are creatures on the actual surface that are dangerous. In order to travel to the other platforms, they are connected by bridges. Okay, if I'll carry on because you can hear me anyway. If they should go down to the surface of the planet, they go inside the platforms themselves and not descend from outside, from the top of the platforms, down to the planet. In order to land on the platform from above, it is by way of a craft. At the same time, when the planet goes through changes and they need to move, they move their whole dwellings. They move by thought. So you simply think yourself somewhere mentally and you are there, right? So this is what we're saying. When we're saying Riskians, there are Riskians at different levels, and they float, they light, they can, for lack of a better word, bend what we call reality. So they, like he says here, when they're able to move, so you said what type of form are they? Like, you have those who are pure energy beings and they're able to personify or take on any form that they like when they come down or descend to the lower platforms, and they work together. So if you look at them, they almost similar. Like if you watch the yeah, I sent you. Did you see that? Are you showing it? Can you show it?
Which one?
That one.
Yes. No. You explained it. You explained it well.
Yeah.
The question was a basis to understand what level they were at.
Right. So this is going to sound crazy to some people, but they are literally able to just think of something and make it manifest. And we have that ability too, as we are Etherians, but in a very baby stage.
Have you ever personally experienced this?
Tour. I do it all the time. And the thing is, the higher senses that we're missing, the more you study Wu-Sabat and get in tune with Parnabab Yanun, somebody else asked a question earlier about the experiences around. When you're around him, he gives you that energy, like you can do anything. And even though we say, have you experienced it? Most of what you do in your life, you first think about it. You can literally say, I want to achieve this or I want to do this, and you manifest it. And we cover some of this in our book. because like I was saying earlier on, a lot of us still don't know our power, and to even get the higher senses like your telepathy, clairvoyance, intuition, and psychometry, these are things that help you to start to activate and use more. You have a lot of things already, but you don't have the keys or know how to activate them. And this is why the master teacher's here to help and guide and teach you when you're in the right forums where you get activated. Like the golden children need to be activated.
I can do those things. Everything you mentioned, I can do.
Right. There you go. So some of us are already tapping into knowing our real beings and like able to do certain things, but we still need that guidance.
Let me share a story for your listeners. It was a Saturday, and I was in New York. I was living in New York at the time. Like I said, I was born in Brooklyn, and I had just bought a car in August. So in August, I bought an M6, a four-door M6 Grand Coupe. Let's say maybe it was $160,000 at the time.
Right.
So then in October, I bought for my wife. She was from Morocco. I bought for her brand new Cadillac XTS Platinum, 60-something thousand. I bought it for her. It was Columbus Day sale.
Right.
So she saw that I had a car. You know, women, I had to go trade in her Mercedes and get her a car. So I get her a car. So now it's November. It's around Thanksgiving, so I don't have to work. And I'm going through my mail because playing catch up, and I go through. So you imagine, I just got a car. I think, okay, I have a car. I got my wife a nice car that I can move around with too, also, so people don't see me with the same car all the time. And then I get a license that I get a notice that my car is revoked in the mail. So at that point, I say, you know what? Higher power, if you are real, give me a car right now. As you can imagine, I was being facetious. I said, you know what? I want a new car right now. I was frustrated. 30 minutes ring. The phone rings. Still at the table. I didn't even move from the kitchen table. And a guy calls. He says, hey, how are you? My name is Steve, and I'm calling from the dealer, and I would like to offer you a new car. We have a special today. Like, huh? I knew I professed that. So I stayed on the phone to listen. So where are you calling from? He said, Nissan. I said, Nissan? Keep in mind, you know how we are. I have a BMW M6 in the driveway, which I had just got, and I didn't mention I also had a Bentley Flying Spur, which was also in the driveway. I just got my wife the Cadillac. Now it's Nissan call. So because I know I professed it, I wasn't going to be arrogant with the phone. So I said, where are you located? He's in Garden City, which was very strange because Garden City is about 35, 40 minutes from where I live, but it happens to be where I went to university. So I said, okay, you know what? Someone upstairs, someone with a higher power is sending me back to school me right now. Because now I have to go 35, 40 minutes to see this guy and see what's up, where I went to university. So I get up and go. Remember, my license is revoked. I got the notice, but it's going to be revoked on Monday. Okay, so I'm opening the mail. It's going to be revoked on Monday. So I go to Nissan, look around. Of course, there's no Nissan that I would be interested in. And as I look around, I said, look, let me tell you something, Steve. Now I'm being arrogant with the guy. I believe he was Italian.
Zamal, sorry, if you could try to
what kind of cars I have,
because there are lots of people waiting with questions. So if you can give us the short version, please.
When he sees what kind of car, he says, hold on, I have something for you.
Right.
He goes in the other lot and he pulls a $67,000 truck with wheels, the TV, the heated steering, and everything. So I said, okay, write it up. Remember, I have no intention of paying or buying for the car because my license is suspended and I just got a car, but he doesn't know that. So he says, let me write it up. I said, I don't want to pay more than a couple $100. I'm being facetious. I know, I worked on Wall Street, I know money. He said he's playing around, and he can't do it. He said, you know what? If you had this amount of money, I could do it. The amount of money he asked me for, I had the exact amount of money in the car.
Right.
I said, Steve, I have this exact amount of money. Come with me, come see. So you're testament to that.
Right.
We go, and he says, wow, you have that. So then he continues to write it up. And he says, okay, give me your license. We're going to write it up. I said, Steve, you know what? There's a problem. I don't have a license. You don't have a license? I said, no, I have a license. It got revoked. He says, you know what? I know a guy.
We're running out of time.
So he calls the insurance. He calls an insurance guy, and there was an insurance for people with revoked license, and he gave it to me. And would you believe that the insurance with the revoked license that he gave me was cheaper than the insurance I had on the other two cars?
So you sound surprised about your own powers, basically. And what we're saying is that you have powers, we have powers, but at the end of the day, it's not about the individual and, you know, I have £1 million. I'm not saying you, I'm just speaking in general terms, right?
No.
It's about how do we pull those resources together.
What I could do for you.
Right. No, I'm saying, we got to work together, link up.
To see if I could help you, expand and learn something. I can speak any language. Right.
Okay. So because we literally have like 13 minutes or so left on the live, and
so you have my number. I apologize for taking up someone else's time.
We try to be as patient and as accommodating as possible. But yeah, you got our number. Are you in our Telegram group?
No. I just this.
Okay, what I'll do, I'll contact you and link up with you, and we can take it offline, right? And do some more talking and stuff. All right.
All right.
Appreciate your call. Thank you, and for sharing. Yeah, but at the end of the day, we have tremendous powers, and it's about coming together. Not being an individual, but like the Riskians, the picture we shared just now, they work together. They become one mind. Like they move and they operate in a way that is much more in harmony with themselves, with nature, etc., etc. Right? Okay, I remember the question I was trying to finish. The question that somebody was asking about the etheric parents, and I was explaining that you're composed of it was life is a blessing. You are composed of different elements. So the elements that are in this environment are made up of things in this environment. That's why in the scriptures, for God to have children, they have to have the same composition and makeup with the same 46 chromosomes that we have to be able to have offspring, right? Because they have to be compatible. So you come from another realm because you're composed of the ether, right? We say 9 ether or 9 to the 9 power because what we call 9 ether is the combination of all existing gases, conscious gases, as well as conscience gases. That's putting them all together. That's how powerful 9 ether is. So some of us are amazed at our abilities when we start to tap into doing things that we did naturally as supreme beings. But from where you're coming from, you're divided to come down here. So just like this will probably make it easier for you to understand, just like water is one being, right? Whether it's in a form of liquid, gas, or solid, as in ice, as in liquid, or as in vapor or steam, water divides up. You can take a drop of water, it's still water. So you are like a drop of water from the etheric realm, and your parents, those you come from the etheric realm, right, they still connected to you. And this is what you refer to, like you have your oversoul. There's a part of that called we're running out of time, but I've just picked up soul, spirit. That goes into what I'm talking about. 30 spirits touches on it. The prism goes into some of it, but essentially we're just divided and fractals of one. This is why you come down here to graduate and to learn and master this realm, to go to the next and the next and the next, and the highest being the 9th, you're trying to get back to that, where you start to, like, you shed things like your physical body, you shed things like the me, myself, and I, the ego. You shed all of that to become one mind, and then you continue to becoming pure ether, pure energy being. And depending on the level that you are, when you get there, you may have the leave or the ability to be able to slow down your vibration, 2121, slow down your vibration and come down and go back up and experience different realms and different experiences. So I hope that helps. Life is a blessing. On the question about a bit more about the etheric parents, can you please elaborate on this a bit, which I've done, all right? Yeah, and the parents, your physical parents, you're just choosing them to come through, and you rent them until you're, they say, an adult or 18 or whatever, and then you leave and you go and continue your own life, etc. Not saying you don't, stay connected to them, because they more than likely cross over and go over to the other higher realms before you, and then you maintain that link, especially through your mother, as she has the mitochondrial DNA. And then if you need guidance, assistance, you go to them. And then if you need something for humanity or for more than yourself, this is what I was touching on the individuality thing, you go to the Natharu, who they are more concerned or preoccupied with things to deal with on a galactical level, on a universal level, on a cosmology. They deal with the cosmos, so they're more on the higher, they deal with things that affect more than just yourself. Okay, we're really running out of time. We have like 7 minutes, and I have to say Nadum to those who haven't managed to get their questions answered. I'm going to try and do a quick through them. Where's the pickup point, Tamare? We need, right, all of that is being worked on. This is what I'm saying. People think that they're going to stay on the outside and get all the jewels and get all the information of, like, oh, you're going to turn up to the pickup point. Firstly, I'm not saying you're saying that. I'm saying this, I started to say this before, this is the call. If you were around, if you're new, doesn't matter, come close, be close, so that you can get and learn to know what's happening and how to get involved. All right. No specifics are going to be given. No specifics are going to be given publicly, like secrets are secreted. Lawrence, do you believe in cremation? You see, we don't use belief, because it's either you know something or you don't, and you need to know why you're doing it and why you shouldn't do it. At the moment, we do use cremation because of the fact that you're able to transcend and leave no attachments in terms of being held down here by your spirit and blood and bones and things that connect you still to the physical. So yes, we do cremate at the moment. There's more to it. I'm just, because we're running out of time now. We have like 5 minutes. I'm just skinning through and seeing okay. What is the true meaning of the ringing in the ear, or is it just a ring? There are many different reasons why people have rings in their ears. Some people turn it into something special if because of the doctrine, our doctrine, and the master teacher explaining that some people do have the rings because they're being monitored or being probed and being scanned by beings on the crafts, because some of these beings are special and will be responsible and sent messages telepathically. So it's like practicing, like on you, to see if you will receive the message, if you'll get the ring. Other people just have metals in their body and bad headaches, and their frequencies around that are affecting them, and they get the ring. Some people, they go to clubs and they listen to loud music all the time, or they like behind speakers, that are damaging to them, or they listen to music in their headphones too loud, or there's many reasons why people will hear rings in their ear. But there are those beings that we've broken down previously, and somebody actually asked that question in the 3 questions. So we're coming to the last few minutes. So if you haven't had your question answered, you could actually shoot a video with 3 of your top questions, and with those 3 questions you can upload them to osmvision.wetransfer.com, and we'll get those answered for you. Another option is you can join our Telegram group, ask your questions in there, because we have many student teachers of the Master Teacher that are very capable of answering questions. Another thing is we are very accessible. You can contact us like 24/7, 365 days a year. We have classes all around the world in the different jurisdictions, which you can find from our official website, unitedsabiansworldwide.com. Look in contacts, look at the various locations. You can go to the classes there. We have these lives every week, every Tuesday, same time, 7 p.m. to 9:30. We also have classes every Saturday live as well. You can join on Zoom or Clubhouse, and that's the same time every Saturday, 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. And we're still looking to add more and give you more with your help, with your support, with the projects that we're working on, because you should realize that the Master Teacher has left no stone unturned. He covers it all. And so we have to learn and know about how we do business, how do we come together, how do we build communities. We've done all of this. And yes, we've been dispersed by way of the, disenfranchising of us and incarceration and kidnapping of the Master Teacher. But we are still a worldwide, cultural people, and more people are waking up to the right knowledge, the right wisdom, and the right understanding, the truth that will really make you free, because it has to start with yourself. And so Wu-Sabat, OSM Vision, we're here to cater for everything you need. So every week, every day, you can get a dose of Wu-Sabat. Okay, this is going to be the last caller.
They called up, but my phone's on Do Not Disturb, so it hung up. So I'm going to let them call back.
Okay. Yeah, so you have no reason and no excuse not to know the truth. You have smartphones, you have the ability to use AI and Google, and you can research and learn things. Not saying they're going to know it like 100%, but it will help. Okay, the last caller for the day, Rahubat, greetings. What's your name, where you're calling from, and what's your question, please?
Rahubat, this is Delilah. I'm calling from the States in Florida.
Rahubat.
My question is for Sakin. He mentioned coming close, and I want to come close, but how do we come close? My first closest location is in Georgia.
Right.
And I'm in Florida. So how do we come close? I'm buying and reading the scrolls. I'm getting in touch with the videos. I'm watching videos. I can't literally come close. I mean, what other solution is there?
You are close. We're only a phone call away. We're only a social media platform away, so you are already close. But when I say that, there are things being worked on in the pipeline to, like, for example, have more stores and locations, temples close to you. And you have to be smart with it as well, because sometimes it may mean you moving, or it may not be safe where you are. So you may have to, we have to be ready. One, it's a hard thing for some people to do, but be able to be unattached to the point where if you need to move or you need to go somewhere, you're ready to go. I'm not saying that to scare anybody or any kind of doomsday teachings, but people go where they need to go for what is priority for them. So I'm saying, for example, if the master was here and he was going to a particular location, I've seen it happen, and I know that those who follow the Lamb wherever he goes, they're going to be going where he is. So I'm saying that to say that you kind of have to be prepared. But in terms of what you're saying, for now, you can only do the best that you can do in terms of, as you say, you're reading the scrolls, which is very, very crucial, so that you're making that connection directly by yourself to the master teacher. Number two, you're engaging with us in our platforms, and you can fill out the applications and stuff so that we know who you are, because, you know, we need to know in terms of you can get your, we're going to have many things which I can't divulge right now, but yeah, so once we know of you and you're willing and your intentions are to be close, then it's going to happen. You can literally manifest anything you want. I hope that's giving you something, but you're already coming as close as you can, and that's all you can do for now. Then you're close online and via the various platforms that we have. Study the language, you know. Does that help?
Sure.
All right. Okay, so you're going to be the last caller for today. We want to thank everyone for tuning in to the live. Remember, share, like, subscribe, stay in tune, stay close. I know I keep saying it, but you do need to stay close, because anything can happen and change anytime. And the way you're going to know is we're going to let you know. All right? Okay, I saw Rahuba Moisa Nafiratun. Oh, okay. Right, so yeah, Tawakum, which means thank you all. Until next time, next week, same time, same place, and on the platforms throughout the night, throughout the day, where they're answering your questions. Appreciate love. Wadu.
Proper black history. You won't get it nowhere else at all.
Islam is a beautiful religion for the Muslims. Christianity is a beautiful religion for the Christians. As Sabaeans, we have our own culture, our own scriptures, our own way of life, which is Wu-Sabat. Naut Mugdad Badek Patah, Naut Mukhlas Badek Wu-Sabat is not a religion, it predates religion. So we don't really subscribe to like the monotheistic religions. And even when you get to Africa, you know, people might talk about Egypt or Kemet or these various names, but our ancestors, they actually go back to the stars from the Orion and Sirius constellation.
In the Bible, Genesis, Adam and Eve,
yeah.
What color were they?
He was a Hindu. Adam was from Atum and Lilith. Those were his parents. We've got their pictures in our scrolls as well. So how do we get pictures? As 9 ether beings, we can travel to different times. We can go backwards in time and forward in time. We can go into different dimensions. We can be channeled. I have watched many false teachers pass. I have watched churches who has come not to change the books, but to untangle and straighten and put them in an order that can be read and understood by any and all. No one in the heavens above or below the earth or under earth has the ability to make all of the true untampered scriptures, which are the words of the Most High, so clear. For I do not speak from myself, but the words flow through me from the very lips and hearts of those mentioned in the pamphlets I put forth. Read the scrolls. Don't reject me. Don't deny me. Don't slander me. I am your savior. Come and follow me. Brother at the back, did you have a question?
Yeah.
Sure.
You see how it says our savior is here?
Yeah.
Who's our? Is it just black people?
No, not at all. Our, because every race has been sent their own warner. For us, as black people, if you want to use that word, we're not even black, but we know what you mean when we use that word. So yes, he sent to us, just like every other race was sent their warner, but these beings, they have a message for the entire world, because what they teach is for humanity.
That's what wu-nuwapu is about. Sound, right, reasoning. Nothing else. All we wanted the facts. We accepted the faith. We had faith in Allah. We had faith in Christ. We had all the faiths we had bags of faith. We had our foot on the radio. We had our knees and forehead on the ground. I mean, we reached out for God, every which way. As a people of color, we reached for God in everything from, I seen brothers as high Christians with little ball and knots. We tried everything. Now we're saying we want to ask questions. We want nothing but facts.
In order for the information to turn into knowledge, what has to take place? We talked about reasonability. Without reasonability, you can't transfer or transform the information into knowledge. It is through sound right reasoning how you take information and turn it into knowledge.
And one of the famous things that people who are familiar with him will know, he always said, "Don't believe me, check it out."
Don't believe me. Check it out.
Says stuff, he can't prove it. Everything I say, I prove. That's what makes me different. They talk about stuff they can't prove.
The man that has made it possible for the Nuwabian nation to be established throughout the world. He has touched many hearts and has opened many minds to the truth. So without further ado, here's Dr. Malachi Dior.
They're going to know who I am. They're going to realize by this book who I really am.
What woke you up to the New World Order, these globalist elites and eugenicists?
The main thing that woke me up to it was a writer named Dr. York, a spiritual teacher from Brooklyn. He had a whole community over in Bushwick, on Bushwick Avenue, called the Ancestral Allah community. They like real heavy into like just studying the origins of religions, of cultures, politics, the origins of everything. And that's how you really get to the bottom of things, when you study the origins of it. So that's what I learned reading his books, and it all came from him.
A series of books he puts out are called Actual Facts, or The Master's Secrets. But we've also got our own way of life for the culture, which is known as Partarak.
Master Teacher's written various amount of books on extraterrestrials. He's got an extraterrestrial. So this would be crash retrieval. This is a crash retrieval in New Mexico. The different descriptions of the Greys, Draconians, Maccabeans, beings from Benetrak, the Roswell incident, autopsy of the extraterrestrial, the Tyros, cone heads. So they come from the Gemon star constellation.
Now the Tyros, who people know as the cone-shaped heads, right? They have 48 chromosomes. And because the human being, or humans, have 46 chromosomes, that's 23 from your mother and 23 from your father, giving you 46. When they mixed with the humans, they produced a being with 47 chromosomes, which basically resulted in what people call Down syndrome. And that's why no matter what race you are, if you have those 47 chromosomes or Down syndrome, then you're going to have the same features regardless of whether you're black, white, Chinese, etc.
So you've got other descriptions here, the Duanes as well.
These are the short porcupine looking types of beings because their hair sticks out. They're this is what people get like the story of dwarfs and things like that from. They're very intelligent and they study Shakespeare. And so when you start to look at the ailments that people have who have mixed with them, they suffer from something called hirsutism, which is when you have hair all over your body. And this is because of the mixture with these Duanis. And the same as what we call the Deros. The Deros are like very obese, fat looking with like an elephant trunk. And you get a lot of people on the planet who are obese in terms of they weigh so much. And it's because no matter how much diets they go on or how much exercise they do, they can't get rid of the weight. That's because, again, they've been mixed with these beings called the Deros. And most of these beings were residing, some have left, but a lot of them are and were residing in the caverns in the earth.
Also dealing with like the webs in the hands. It shows you like the 3 stages from the sperm, which would be similar to the tadpole. Then you have the second stage, which would be when you do the scan of the baby, which would be like 3 to 4 weeks, which would be like that of a Ramadian form of grey. And then the full stage would be where you would be Homo sapien, which would be mammal and reptilian. Most of these extraterrestrials also live in the centre of the earth. You've got the knuckles here. These are skulls that they found. Because a lot of people think that we're making these up, but yeah, this is information that scientists are backing up, archaeologists are backing up. I was doing shopping in Peckham, so I had this inner thought that said to me, yeah, go into the indoor market. So I went in there and met 2 brothers, and they started talking about the master teacher's information. By the time I thought black religion or black Christianity, kind of not interested in it, but I bought a video, Roswell video. So I went home, watched that, and then my oldest brother came about 3 days later with one of Malachi's videos called Elohim, and he was talking about us being God's ancient Egypt, how we'd be misinformed. So yeah, from then I got hooked up on it, yeah. He was always saying that just use the information as like, you know, don't get hooked up on it, but yeah, got hooked up on it, man. Remember back in the days they used to have these Shambhala bracelets. They were called crystals or made out of crystals. So this will be tying into these. See Shambhala. Crystal City. Another extraterrestrial. This person here. Visit the White House, so people can do some research on Valiant 4. We see the master teacher's already written about him.
My name's Basta Nafartat Ka'anku, and I manage the Nashat store here in Croydon. I heard about Wu-Sabat or Nuwapians about 30 plus years ago. I was visiting a friend. We were just laughing and joking, and then I could hear a voice in the background. He had a videotape of the master teacher, Dr. Malachi Ziyad.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu. Ashhadu anna kullu rasul rasulullah. I bear witness to Allah alone, and He has no partners. And I bear witness to all the apostles that come from Allah.
Being a follower of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad through his National Representative Louis Farrakhan, I would just like to know is the dress code of bow tie and suits, is that in any way an abomination of Allah's will compared to the Ansaru community with white garb?
The dress code of the Nation of Islam serves its purpose in that which Minister Louis Farrakhan is trying to get across.